my friends, Jared Rosa in the Rosa String Works Man Cave. Had a crazy busy weekend, just like always. That's what I feel like. I'm more busy on weekends than I am during the week. Boy, I got to reflecting on all the stuff I've done just this year. I fixed the dump truck. I fixed all that electric for all the campers go. I actually nailed tin on a couple of barns that the roofs were loose, did that. And, I don't know. It just seems like there's a million things. Of course, I always cut firewood and, haven't done much on the Waterwheel house so far this year, but now I have also restored a four-wheeler, which you'll see a video on here in just a minute, and I got started again back on the roof of the Waterwheel house. There were several other I've cut down tons of cedar and sawed lots of cedar boards and things, some of it for Ron. Did you happen to see Itchy Boots' latest video where she met this caveman, guy who lives in a cave pretty much, and he pretty much is self-sustained out of the ocean. He just walks out in the ocean, picks up something and eats it, and he was opening up that stuff and handing it to her, and she ate it. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I could eat that before I could eat a piece of lettuce, but it still was pretty gross looking. I don't like to eat raw stuff. I prefer it to be cooked. But she'll try anything. She's way braver than I am. I attended Ron's 70th birthday party over the weekend. Ron is my friend and at one time was making those deer antler saddles for me, and he comes here and we hunt together and things like that. Well, while I was there, I assisted another fellow and we fixed it, Ron's lawn tractor for him. The PTO quit working, and I knew it was something simple, In fact, I think all it was, I just think that the corrosion had set in from sitting outside, and the fuse, the little fuse, had corrosion on it, and I don't think it was making good contact. We just pulled it out, put it back in a couple times, and it started working because it wasn't burnt. So I said, well, that's probably all it was, because it started working right after we did that. Well, anyway, while I was at Ron's party, I bumped into a fellow there that was an archaeologist. He goes out on digs. Pretty much that's all he does. He just on digs all day long, every day, pretty much. He was very interested to hear about all the stuff I found here on the farm, especially, the Civil War stuff and the Native American stuff, because he mostly does the Native American stuff. And, well, I don't know. I think that's mostly what he does, but he does other stuff too. And anyway, he was interested in all that, and I told him all about the stuff I found and the latest find, that ring, and some of the other stuff. He also belongs to the St. Louis Archaeological Society. I belonged to it for a number of years, but I don't belong to it anymore. But anyway, I also over the weekend looked for some mushrooms. Didn't find a single one. I think this was the lowest year I've ever had. I think I only found 8 on my own. Sue found, I think, another 3 or something. That was the least number of mushrooms I've ever found, I believe. Maybe I found a couple more. I found 2 when Ron was here, so maybe I found 10. I'm not really sure. Can't remember now. But anyway, that's the lowest number I found in a number of years. I usually find right about 100 or well over 100 quite often. Over the weekend, I tried to do a little bit more metal detecting for just one evening. I think it was Friday evening, and really didn't turn up anything. But then Friday evening, I thought, that new cave that I'm digging out, I thought I'm just going to take this metal detector. This Manicore it's really one of the high-end metal detectors, and it's got a lot of modes. So I set it in gold prospecting mode. It's super sensitive in that mode, and it's got this little whine that it does the whole time. You can always hear this little noise in the background, and if you go over anything, it breaks that tone. And often, especially if it's big enough, and it doesn't have to be very big, but it'll increase the tone quite a bit. Well, I did that right in front of that cave, and to my surprise, I was getting quite a few signals. I really surprised me, because you saw pretty much on camera that I just dug it out. There was no evidence of anything being back in there. Just natural rock and stuff. So I thought, what am I hitting here? Probably just iron ore type pieces, little tiny pieces of like iron is what I'm assuming. And I thought, well, maybe some lead, maybe, you never know, or galena or something like that. So I don't know. After I finished with the four-wheeler over the weekend, I think it was yesterday evening. In fact, it was just before dark. In fact, I thought, well, now that I got a minute, I'm going to go back there and see if I can figure out. I didn't try to dig those things up then. I was just curious if I'd even hear any signals. Well, sure enough, I did on Friday evening. Well, then Sunday evening, last night, I thought, well, I'm going to go down there and pan these things out, because it's real muddy. I mean, it's real super muddy, so you can't just dig through it real easy and find anything. So I took the little gold pan back there and panned, and the very first thing that popped out, well, first of all, I mean, you can tell by the signal that it's given on the metal detector pretty much what you're digging for the most part. I mean, you at least have a ballpark idea. Well, first of all, the number was relatively high. Now, it did not say, it said it was not iron. So that kind of changes your perspective, because it says this is not iron. You can tell that by the detector, what it's doing, that it's a non-ferrous signal, but the signal was a lot higher than gold would have been. Like gold is going to be a very low number. It's going to be like anywhere from 2 to 10 probably. Well, this was like a 20. I'm going, that's weird. What could be in here that's not iron? So sure enough, I dug it up, and here's what it was. The bottom left one is the very bottom left was the first thing that came out. Now, I'm not kidding you. When I'm thinking to myself, it's got to just be a piece of iron ore or something. That's all I'm thinking it is, even though it says it's not iron on the detector. So when that popped out, it was bright gold color. I'm not kidding you. In the sunlight and everything, it was bright gold color. And I went, whoa, it really is gold. Well, it turns out it's copper. And almost before my eyes, within just a few minutes, it had tarnished to a dull copper color. And you can see the color there now, that it's kind of that dull copper color. But it seriously, when it popped out of the ground, out of that dirt and water and stuff, I swear I thought it was gold. I thought, oh my gosh, it really is gold. But anyway, I think it's a piece of a metal bullet. I think it's a metal bullet jacket, and how that got it down in there, I have no idea, other than the fact that, just digging with the bobcat and stuff, the bullet was probably on the surface and just rolled off and fell down in there. But anyway, those 4 fragments on the bottom are pretty much bullet fragments. I'm pretty sure that's what they are. The top 2 fragments are probably some form of iron, but they're minerals. Those are rocks. They're not like regular metal or anything, but they do set the metal detector off. So they're just some kind of what they refer to as a hot rock. But anyway, when I'm not kidding you, if it would have been cool to have the camera go in and see my face, because when that popped out, I was just expecting to see exactly what's on the top up there. I was expecting to see one of those 2 kinds of looking things up there. And when it popped out shiny gold color, I about flipped. But anyway, it was just a piece of bullet. It's the jacket off the bullet. It's the copper jacket off the bullet's what it is. But anyway, I thought that was different. Well, like I said, I did work on the four-wheeler also, and here's a little short video on that. It's bright and early Monday morning, and I am getting ready to start on the Waterwheel roof again. But here's my project over the weekend. I'm pretty proud of the way this turned out. I had to take this thing pretty much completely apart. I mean, all the plastic off, this rack off. Just, it was a mess. Take all the cylinder off, the head off. I put in a new cylinder, new piston. I did a valve job on it, adjusted the valves, a new carburetor, and I don't know, I had to clean out the gas tank. It was a mess. It was solid, clogged up. There was just a ton of work. New spark plug, new oil, obviously new oil in the rear end, the whole bit. And I haven't tried starting it this morning. It started fine yesterday, so let's see what happens on camera. Probably you know what's going to happen, but let's see anyway. Let's see, I don't even know if I have it in neutral. The neutral light doesn't work on this. Might need a little choke. A little cold, a little cold. Yeah, it's definitely cold. Well, it idled real good yesterday. It's leaving a blue cloud of smoke, unfortunately. That isn't good. Almost idling now. I slowed the idle down on it last night before I put it away because it was a little fast, and then maybe I got it too slow. It does leave a little bit of a blue trail, which means it's probably burning oil, so those new rings and new piston aren't seated in right, and more than likely they won't self-correct, so more than likely I'll be putting in another one before long. That kind of sucks, but it wasn't expensive. It was only like 45 bucks or something for that, so you don't expect much. You know, it would be nice to get the factory one, but you know, that didn't seem to be available on Amazon. It is what it is. It runs pretty good. You know, I think I slowed the idle down a little bit too much. I'll probably have to pick that back up just a hair. But other than that, it seems to be working really well. Well, let's move on to the Waterwheel house. I don't even know how to get started good. I've got a lot of tools in the back here. I don't know, you know, the way it always works is as soon as I get started, the first thing I got to do is run to the shop and get something else that I forgot. So we'll see how that goes today. Well, I can tell you how it went. Just like I said, as soon as I get started, I went back to the shop like at least 3 times. Yeah, that's the hardest part on a job like this Waterwheel roof is just getting started, really. It's getting all the tools in order, the ladders, everything you need there to do the job. And that's pretty much all I did all morning was just get it ready to do the job. I did get 2 boards put on it. I'll show you a video on that here in just a second. Regarding the four-wheeler, though, it actually, I did up the idle on it just a little bit after I shot that video, and it idled fine. And it's running really well. It's smoking a little bit of blue smoke. Now, I don't know if that still could be from the oil I put in the cylinder. I put a little oil on the cylinder walls as I was putting it together, you know, and it could just be burning that off possibly, but I don't know. It is what it is, but it does run good, starts easy, and the boys will enjoy it when they're here, you know. That'll give them, each one of them will have a four-wheeler that way versus they, you know, had to take turns on the other one. Let's see. The Waterwheel, it starts off with a little ASMR, just letting you look at it for a minute there, and then I give you about 20 seconds of that before I explain what's going on. I put two more 2x8 across there, so I raised it up another 16 inches on the 2x material that I'm nailing the shingles to. I go a little bit at a time. Anyway, I'm hoping that I'll get to the peak by this evening. I doubt it, but you never know. I'm hoping I can. It would be really nice to get this one side done. Then I'll have to engineer a whole big thing of scaffold for this other side and access it via the scaffold. I'll just make a platform that's right at the base of this roof over here, and I'll put some large posts in the ground and tie it all together. It'll be a walking platform up there. Yeah, that's the best I can do. It's not simple. And hiring somebody is pretty much out of the question. Maybe I could hire the Amish. That'd be about it. They could probably do it, but I don't know anybody else that could. Yeah, so the moment we're done here, I'm gonna head back there and start actually putting shingles on, because now I'm ready to actually put the shingles on. It took a lot of prep work this morning. See, like even those like 2x8s, it's not like going to the hardware store and buying them and they're all exactly the same size. That's not the way they saw on a sawmill. You know, they're all a little bit rough. Some will be a little bigger than others. Plus the fact while they dry, they'll draw a tiny bow into them or whatever. So then you have to take them and run them through the joiner to get a straight edge, and then you have to run the other side through the table saw to make it parallel. It's just a thing. It's a whole thing. It's not a 5-minute job at all. It's really a lot of work. And so that's just putting the base down to nail the shingles too, you know. So there's just a whole lot of work involved in this whole thing. And then each individual wood shingle has to be fitted so that you don't have any overlapping or, you know, seams that are lining up. You don't want the seams to line up. So it's just, you know, everything's a different size and shape. So it just takes a lot of fitting, a lot of manual effort. It's not simple at all. But it's working, and it's going to be fine. I'm getting faster at it, but it's still not a real fast process, you know. So let's go into the comments and see what's going on. David Tharp says, greetings, everybody. Did anyone else miss the video Jerry put out over the weekend? For some reason, I couldn't find it. Well, I didn't get one out over the weekend. Did I say I was going to? I said I thought I said I would like to get a video out over the weekend, but I don't know. I just don't know if I've got the time. I knew I was going to be busy, and I stayed busy the whole time working on that four-wheeler. Now, I shot a lot of raw video on the four-wheeler, which could be another video down the road. But man, it's just hard to just stop everything and make videos, because it's 8 hours just to make a video. I mean, it really is. David Thorpe, I figured out why this month is called May. It may rain, or it may snow, or it may be 80 degrees, or it may be in the 20s. And that's just how it's been here. Like this morning, it was in the 40s. It's crazy. Eddie Turner, let's see. No. Okay, yeah, he's talking about the video too. Let's see. Ronald Todd says, good afternoon from the West Banks of New Jersey. Let's see. Bill Rhodes. Good afternoon, Jerry. What is the name of the chrome polish that you talk about? It's called semi-chrome, SEMICHROME, I believe. Semi-chrome. And it comes in a tube, or you can get it in a canister, a little can. The tube is really goes a long way, you know. So just the small tube, you'd be surprised how far it goes. It doesn't take very much, but it takes a lot of elbow grease. But it makes a really nice finish. It really does a nice job. You can use it right on your actual finish, and you can use it on metal and make the metal buff out real nice too. It's just good stuff. It's kind of like a very, very fine polishing compound. That's really what it amounts to. Rod Wintler, did the purple martins ever arrive in mass? Yeah, they're pretty much, there's a bunch of them down there. I have no idea how many there are, but dang near every house is full. But that's another thing. I really need to stop there on the way to the shingles and clean out those nests one more time, because I know there's at least one sparrow building in there still. Those things are relentless, man. You cannot keep them out. It's just amazing. So I do need to do that too. After we went live, David Tharp says, someone asked if I would like to run the New York Marathon. I said, I'm flattered that you asked, but I don't think I could organize such a large event. Let's see. Dottie Hildebrand, prayers for everybody. Thank you, Dottie. Gino Hitch, Jerry and friends, still raining in Monroe, Ohio. I managed to mow my grass in between showers. Looks like you're doing good with the weight loss. Thank you. I'm still trying. I'm still hanging in there. I broke my diet a little bit there Saturday evening because I was at Ron's party, but I didn't overindulge. I think I had 2 slices of pizza and a little cake and ice cream, and that's pretty much it. Tom Armstrong, wife and I will be moving to Springfield, Missouri, probably before the end of the year, to be closer to our daughter and her family. Man, I hope it's warmer than New Hampshire in the winter. Well, it's a come and go thing. I don't know the winters in New Hampshire, obviously, but it can be just doggone cold here. And I think well, I don't know about New Hampshire. You may have a lot of humidity there too, but there's a lot of humidity. And so that when it's wet, damp, cold, it's cold, man. It's really cold. But I hope you're right. I hope it is better. Bill Mumbo, Jerry, could it be the valve stem seals or guides allowing into the combustion chamber? You know, it's possible, I guess. I don't recall ever seeing that problem. I've done lots of engine jobs in my life, and I don't remember having that problem, but I guess that's a possibility. Tom Armstrong, the Waterwheel is so cool. Well, thank you. Yeah, I really do like it. You know, just think about how many thousands of times that thing has gone around now since I put it in. It's been over a year now, hadn't it, that I had it up working? And that sucker's gone around in some circles now. Every couple of months I go down there and grease those bearings, whether they need it or not. Actually, one of the bearings is wearing out and it makes a noise, and so I've already bought a new bearing for it. It's just getting to it to put it on there. Let's see. David Tharp. Researchers have developed a car that runs on parsley Now they're working on trains, planes, and buses that will run on time. Okay, sure. I would like to see that myself. Scott Roberts went skydiving today for the first time. This guy strapped himself to me. We jumped out of the plane, and as we plummeted, he says, "So how long have you been an instructor?" That would be my luck right there. That would exactly be my luck. Ronald Todd, could you pick your homemade platform you have on the Bobcat by side and reach the other side of the roof with the Bobcat sitting on the road? No, it won't reach that far. Well, I mean, I guess there's a way you can make it, but it wouldn't be very stable. So I don't think I can do that very easily. Scott Roberts, I recently started a band called 999 Megabytes. We're good, but we haven't got a gig yet. Hey, you had to go a long way for that one. That's pretty good, though. Let's see. David Thorpe, what does ASMR stand for? I think everyone knows but me. Audio sensor mesmerizing reviews. I don't remember what it stands for either. It's got something to do with audio and sensory perception is about all I can remember. Sidecar Bob, could some oil have gotten into the exhaust while you were working on it or storage? I don't think there's any oil in the exhaust. I did coat the cylinder down with oil, and I also put a little bit of that assembly lube on the lower part of the right around the lower part of the cylinder, so that when the piston started into the cylinder, it would go in easier. So I put a little assembly lube there, and then after the piston started, I actually wiped a little oil around it all the way down to the top of the piston. So there was probably quite a bit of oil in there. It could still be that, I guess, but more than likely it's just blown past the rings. I was very careful about putting the rings in, opposite spots so that none of the grooves lined up, the, what do you call it? I don't know, the ends, the gap, I guess. Scott Roberts, I've been prescribed anti-gloating cream. I can't wait to rub it in. Brad Bertram, maybe you're sucking oil through the valve guides. Valve stems might be worn. It's a possibility, I guess. I like the other person said, but that's something I've never run into. But it's very possible. It could be that. Let's see. Sidecar Bob, ASMR, autonomous sensory meridian response. Basically, gentle sounds with changes your brain can predict. There you go. Scott Roberts, Jerry, where is your Superman shirt, and who were these people who couldn't tell a bird from a plane from a man in a leotard? Yeah, that is funny, the way that, is it a bird? Is it a plane? Able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Simon Jardine says he doesn't have any question marks, but he says he got his acoustic soundboard finished. Now I'm trying to speed the playing in part using a record turntable with a paintbrush duct taped to it. Fingers crossed. Never heard of that one before. David Thorpe, used to be in a band called Books. That way nobody could judge us by our covers. You guys, where do you come up with this stuff? It's just nuts. 144 viewers. Well, as I said that, it dropped to 134. David, they didn't like that last comment at all. 10 of them dropped off. Anyway, guys, I think I'm going to let that be it, and I'm going to get off of here and make hay while the sun's shining. As I say that, it looks like it's cloudy out there now. It was supposed to be real clear for the next 2 days, today and tomorrow. It was like a 4 or 5% chance of rain, and it looks really cloudy out there right now. It looks dark. That's crazy. It would just be my luck that it would start raining or something. Tom Armstrong says, writing a new song soon? Well, I've been trying to kick around ideas in my head, but I haven't got anything started yet. But, guys, I'm going to let that be it. I will see you tomorrow with something else. Thank you so much for being here.